Well, the Penn State scandal has made headlines not only in our area, but all over the world. And we're getting many comments on our Facebook page and questions, too. How could such a thing happen to children for so long? Well, joining me now with more insight is George James from the Council for Relationships. We're all looking for some answers at the end of the week, George, and it's been a tumultuous week. Yeah. What do you say to those people that say it's because the first attacks were reported in the late 90s, apparently, and here we are, it's on the verge of 2012, and we're just finally seeing something done about it. Why do you think something like this may have gone on for so long?
You know, it's devastating what has happened to these children, and unfortunately, they will be experiencing it throughout their lives. You know, one of the reasons why it happens, you know, is that we see these coaches, we see athletes, and we want to make them better than who we are. We think that they're better than the best that we are, but sometimes they're not. They're human, and they make mistakes just like we make mistakes. And unfortunately, this was a huge mistake and a huge oversight that now was going to hurt some children for a very long time.
Does that explain some of the outrage and the rioting that we saw the other night? These are people that had put their full faith in Joe Paterno, thinking he could do no wrong.
Yeah, you know, and that's what we do with athletes, with coaches, with people that we admire and we respect. What we do is we split them. We either make them extremely good or extremely bad. And so the riots were probably on both sides. The people who still believe in Joe Paterno in terms of seeing all his good, and then the people who were upset with him who see all his bad. But the thing about him is that he has both of these things still in him right now. He has the good parts and the bad parts. So the difficulty is, can we accept the bad, the mistakes he made, and the good, all the good things that he's done all these years that he's been there?
May take some time for that to happen, don't you think?
It's going to take a long time because it's hard for us, because what has happened to these children is the thing that we never want to think about and we never want to admit or even see, and that's what's really hard to accept, is that what happened is just awful and horrendous.
I want to ask you about something that I saw on the news that happened late yesterday, and I think it was one of the lawyers for some of the victims, and then another expert said that his firing, Joe Paterno's firing, actually was the worst thing to do for the victims because they thought they're to blame for it, almost suggesting that they should have kept him in place. Does that make any sense to you?
You know, honestly, it doesn't necessarily make any sense to me. And from the work that I do, the clients that I see abused clients almost every day. Children, adults who have been abused, and it's not talked about enough. The one thing that I can see that could be good about maybe him being fired or what's going on is that at least it'll bring the spotlight to this case. Maybe we'll take more action to protect children, to protect those who are abused. There's so many people out there who won't even come out because of how much they've been hurt by abuse. So the one thing I'll see is that maybe this will allow people to recognize that this is something we need to talk about and take action and take care of children and people who are being hurt.
Most people think that by 2012, here we are on the verge of 2012, things like this shouldn't be happening or shouldn't be covered up for so long. I don't know if it's ever going to stop happening, but at least people should feel comfortable, no matter what level they are in an organization, to coming forward. And that brings me to what Tom Bradley, who is the interim head coach for Penn State now, said in his press conference. And it suggests a culture that possibly needs to change. They asked him, do you think Joe Paterno should have had one last game? And he said, in part of his response, he said, I often tell my players play, coaches coach, administrators administrate. And I thought, well, how telling is that? Obviously, they want them to keep their eye on football, but they're saying really nothing else is important for you but football. And for the coaches, nothing else is more important than coaching. Let the administrators deal with everything else. And that seems to be what they were doing even in the early 2000s that has led to where they are right now.
Yeah, you know, part of that is, you know, we want to see people go out with their last hurrah. You know, the whole John Wayne go out, you know, doing what we've known you to do. And so to hear this scandal, to hear this horrible thing that has happened to these children, most people, or those who are involved in the coaching and the sport, don't want to see Penn State, Joe Paterno, or even the institution go down that way. And so that's probably where he wants to say, let the athletes play, let the coach coach, and let administrators administrate. But the difficulty about this is that we still have to keep people accountable. No matter what our actions are, we have to keep people accountable for what they do and their consequences. And unfortunately, that might mean the end of an era, which has some really good moments and unfortunately some really bad moments.
Do you want to say something to people that might be watching right now that might know of a situation, might know of somebody that's being abused and haven't come forward?
You What I'd want to say to people is that it happens. Unfortunately, it happens in our households, it happens in our families, in sports, and that if we take personal responsibility, if we say we're going to protect these children and these individuals as if it was ourselves or if it was our children, then maybe we can make a better world and a better place. Because once they get abused, it's a long road to healing and recovery.
George James, thank you so much for being here, for some
good
good thoughts.
Much. I really appreciate it.
At the end of a very tumultuous week.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Appreciate you being here.
Thanks.